Good. Go ahead.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into this week's Bullring Breakdown. Race recap for August 23rd. That was sponsored by Country Crossroads Feed and Seed and Johnny and June Salon. I just do want to remind everybody, please like and subscribe on the YouTube page, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, and give us a like and follow on Facebook, and Woodhall64 on TikTok. So, like I am joined every time for the race recaps. Terry Pierce, how are we doing today?
I'm doing a lot better this week, Joe. How about yourself?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad. I skated jury duty, so that always makes you happy.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Um, well, I guess before we jump on the heats, there's probably one thing that we should get into, Terry. The racetrack, the conditions were a little bit less than ideal. But I will say, I didn't have to muscle the cars around, but they did put on great racing.
Oh boy, they did. There was some really good racing on Saturday night. Can't complain. As bad as the track was, is the way it rutted up. And but man, I'll tell you what, the cars did. And it's kind of funny because as bad as the track was, if you look at some of their lap times, these guys turned some pretty fast laps on Saturday night. So I think I seen a hobby stock that almost was under 19-second lap. So that's pretty darn good especially for a track that was as bad as it was.
Yeah, and I always like to tell people too, they're give them a little leeway, Woodhull's been nice and smooth all year long. Missed 1 week. Don't, and I don't think anybody did to my knowledge, but don't, it's obvious, it is what it is. Don't bash the track because of that, because like I said before, everyone should get a little leeway at least once.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they've done a great job, and I think most competitors at Woodhull will tell you that that's not the normal at Woodhull. They've had some pretty good surfaces to race on this year, and yeah, like you said, it's bound to happen now and then. There was no good reason for it the other night; it just happened. Um,
Yeah.
I'll tell you when they were packing the track in right to start with, I knew I seen it, and there was a couple big holes there, and the track was starting to come apart a little bit right before hot laps. So I knew we were in trouble. And yeah, the guys pretty much made the best of it. And like you said, I mean, the racing was great. So yeah, it just goes to show that our guys, it doesn't matter the track conditions. They're still, these guys are ready to race. So,
Absolutely. Uh, so I guess with that, that's out of the way. Backpack giveaway, that went well. I didn't hear any complaints about it. Gene and uh, I guess it was just Gene. I guess Amanda was in the tower. She made my life easy. Just a list of numbers, and it all went well, as far to my knowledge, anyway. So
yep, yep.
I
I
didn't
didn't
hear
hear any
anything bad.
complaining.
So
Yeah, and I seen a lot of kids running around with backpacks on their back and big smiles on their faces. So I think it was a job well done by Gene. Gene does an awesome job on that. And again, we want to thank Terry and Nikki for buying all of them backpacks. I believe they footed the bill on every single one of them. I believe. I don't think anybody donated any. So, special thanks to them for doing that. And yeah, like you said, seen a lot of kids running around with smiles on their face, and that's what it's all about. So.
absolutely. Kids going to the racetrack and having a good time. That's what everybody should want a little bit more of.
Right, absolutely.
Well, Terry, I'm kind of looking at these heats. I kind of hate to really just breeze through them, but there's really not much here to, I guess, really chew on too much. I mean, it was pretty much your guys you would kind of figure would win heats. So we're gonna start in the Southern Tier Customs Rush Crate late models. Bryce Davis came back. He won the heat race. You know, Bryce is there. He's one of the top cars to beat every time he shows up. So really,
Yeah.
anyone. I don't know how he does it. He doesn't run a full schedule. It seems like anywhere, but wherever he shows up, he's fast. So I don't know how he does it, but good for him.
Well, I'll tell you here's a little funny one for you. So, talking to Bryce, so Bryce will only wash his car after two races. He waits two races before he washes his car. This is a story I heard today. So he raced Friday night at McKean, got up Saturday morning and said, "You know what? I got to get another race on this car before I wash it. Let's take it to Woodhall tonight." So that's what I heard why he was at Woodhall on Saturday night. So kind of a funny little story there. But again, anytime he unloads that car at Woodhall, he's the man to beat. There's no doubt. He's got a lot of laps around that place and a lot of experience. So
Absolutely. So we go to the Insinger Performance Modifieds. Aiden Grover picked up the heat race win along with Jake Ginn. Both of them are really coming on strong at the end of the year.
Yes, they are.
Hometown Excavation Crate Sportsman, Isabel Brown, and Kenny Peoples Jr. And for the person who keeps commenting and telling me that I'm wrong for putting Isabel Brown on the Facebook page, if you listen to this, she did get married, so I don't want to hear Barron anymore. I don't want to hear it.
Uh, yeah, I think it's going to take everybody a while. Everybody there knows Isabel, and she has a lot of fans there in the stands. That's for sure. And
I,
yeah, I guess it's going to take a while.
I got a little bit of a funny story. It was in I can't remember if it was the feature of the heat race, but I called her Isabel Barron, and I go, oh wait, rewind that, Isabel Brown, and I look over and Dan Beach is just dying laughing in the race as the race director.
Yeah.
Then we went to the Joe Wilcox Performance Automatic Street Stocks. Glenn Reitner and Teddy Morseman, they picked up the heat race wins. I don't I don't have much to say about that. Glenn's a top car whenever he comes, and Teddy's the point leader, and he's been winning a lot of races for a lot of years. So really not
Yep.
much to go on there.
Luke
Uh,
Boom was back. It was good to see him back. He had a
Absolutely.
good solid third place finish in his heat.
Lad Road Auto Hobby Stock. Oh, I don't have the finishes. I just got the winners written down here. I got the
Oh yeah,
finishes for
yeah,
this
yeah.
feature. Lad Road Auto Hobby Stocks, Dylan Phillip and Brandon Conklin. A little bit more just kind of, par for the course, a little bit chalk there. Um, you know, it is what it is.
Yep.
They've been the top
We
two
actually
for a couple years, so.
right. We actually got to see an older competitor come back in there too. Brett Flint was back piloting the car in the hobby stock class on Saturday night. Finished third in his heat.
I'm not gonna
So
lie to you, I don't know who Brent Flint is.
yeah, you know, oh
No.
man. So let me tell you. So Brett Flint, back in the day, used to run a street stock at Woodhull. I, there's probably people out there with more knowledge to this than me, but I think Brett's won a couple championships, I believe. But anyway, he was the Flintstone Flyer, and that was what his nickname was back in the day. And I think he had Fred Flintstone on his car, maybe. Um, yeah, he was a huge street stock guy back in the day. So
I'm not gonna lie to you, I wish I knew that information on Saturday.
yeah. Well, sorry about
No, that's okay.
that.
That's okay. So then the Wicked T's Quad C, Joe Gillespie, Wesley Hotel, and they picked up the heat race wins. Wesley's, man to beat for the past couple of years, and Joe Gillespie just seems like almost every other week Joe Gillespie wins a heat race. So you got to think it won't be long before he's in victory lane himself. So
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
well, then we had the Warriors, 10 laps for them. Courtney Thomas, she led the beginning of the race and then a caution on lap two. Bella Morseman took the lead. Caution came out on lap seven, but it didn't matter. Bella Morseman cruised to the win, her sixth feature of the season, and pulled her into the point lead. So she picked up the win. Oh no, we're going the wrong way here. What do we got going on here? I had to exit out of something. Now we're all jammed up. So Bella Morseman, she picked up her sixth win of the year. Courtney Thomas was second, and third was Caden Thomas. Chase Warner not making the start. I heard he
No.
was sick, so hopefully he's feeling better.
Yeah, so let's hope. Yep. That kid, he's been trying so hard to get behind the wheel and get some experience, and it's been a tough goal for him. It's been tough. I can't wait to see the kid get behind there and turn some laps. This will be nice.
I don't want to speak for Jason, but while we're touching on that real quick, I'd have to imagine that he might have been a little okay with him skipping this week with the track conditions, and I believe he's only got one race under his belt. So,
Right. Hmm.
putting somebody on that track for their second time in a car, that, as a dad,
Yep.
yeah,
Right.
that might
No,
be a little
absolutely.
worrisome.
Yep. No, absolutely.
But yeah, so Bella Morseman, she picked up her sixth win. That car's fast. Teddy will take it over to Outlaw. He'll win races. Um, that car's just, they got the best of the best equipment. All three of them do really, and they're tough to beat. So,
Yep. For sure.
then we gave away some backpacks. I don't know the number. I wish I did. I should have wrote it down, but you know, it is what it is.
Yep. No, I'm not sure on that one either. Yep.
No. Uh, Dominic was our Woodhall fan of the week. He got a picture with Wesley Hoteling, who I believe is his uncle.
Yep.
Uh,
I think so. I think I did hear somebody say that.
Southern Tier Customs driver of the week was Steve LeBaron. Uh, which if you come to Woodhall, if you listen to this podcast, that should be no shock to anybody because he's been a
Right.
rocket for the past month and a half. And the Hard Luck Award was Dayton Brewer, who he put on Facebook he might be able to win it again. He probably could win it again.
Yeah, for
So.
sure. for sure.
We'll touch on more on that later, but
Well, yeah, I want to say a little bit on that. On the Oh, never mind. No, I was jumping ahead already. I'm sorry. I was thinking about hard luck awards, and boy, Marshall O'Brien had some bad luck on Saturday night, but we'll talk about that coming up. So
you got anything more before intermission?
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, it went well. Usually, I'm not gonna lie to you, the past few years, the backpack giveaway and the bicycle giveaways have been absolute nightmares. But I don't know what Gene and if Amanda's helping and or really what, or maybe it's that I don't Raylan, I think her name is that little blonde girl that helps out.
Yeah, yeah, yep,
I don't know
yep.
if it's just them all coming together and but this year both those events really went smoothly and so like you said, Gene does a great job for all that stuff. So.
You're
You
right.
know,
She does.
nobody else you really want to run that thing other than her. So,
Oh boy, no, that's for sure.
um, so yeah, then we went to I'm trying to remember which one was first. Did we run the late models or the modifieds first?
Yeah, late models went first.
Late models went first. All right, let's look at the late models. So, Ricky Laux, Brett Marlatt, they started on the front row. Um, Bryce Davis, he took the lead on lap number two. Caution came out for Marshall O'Brien on lap three. I believe he blew a drive shaft.
He
Um,
did.
Then the caution came out on lap four for Brett Marlatt, your current point leader, who I think the way it was put to me was he broke something in the rear end, he broke something in the front, and he might have lost a drive shaft. So that I don't know
Yes, he
exactly. You would probably know more than me from being on the infield, but
Yes, he definitely lost the drive shaft. He did have some suspension issues there. I don't know if it was caused from the drive shaft coming out, but he did lose a drive shaft. That was the initial cause of it ending his night. That's for sure. So
um,
I can say a little bit there on Marshalls. So I got a call from on Sunday from Doug, and we were kind of talking about it a little bit. So he broke a drive shaft, snapped that thing in two, and I don't know if you've seen it when he broke the drive shaft, but he was pulling up alongside Brett Marla for second place when he did that. And
mhm.
I got to say, there ain't many people that could pull up beside Brett Marla on a Saturday night, and for Marshall to be doing that, Marshall was really he was putting a race together there, and he was looking great. And it's a terrible thing that that happens and took him out like that. But I guess they took the car back. It's got a broken drive shaft, and it's possibly got a broken rear end in it. And they're evaluating it, and they decided that if the rear end is broke, that their season is probably done. So uh,
Really,
yeah, so unless they could find some used parts or something to get it back together, it looked like they were talking that their season might be over with. So let's hope that it's not that bad, and hopefully they can get it fixed. So
absolutely. Um, so then after the caution on lap four, then it became a little bit of fun. Bryce Davis was on the pole at that point. Steve LeBaron would restart second, and I've got this as I'm just going to read them go. Steve LeBaron leads lap five, Bryce Davis leads lap six, Steve LeBaron leads lap seven, and Bryce Davis leads lap eight.
yep, oh yeah,
They raced side by side for 4 or 5 laps. It was a lot of fun to watch. Um, and then eventually, Bryce Davis was just a little bit better than Steve. Um, I think if Steve would have got out front, Bryce would have had a hard time passing him too. But,
yep.
Bryce got out there first and he um, led the rest of the way, picked up his second feature win.
Yep. And again, you talk about Bryce Davis coming to Woodhull. There's not many people that can pull up beside Bryce Davis on Saturday night at Woodhull. When Bryce is out front, it's usually game over. And for Steve to be able to do what he did the other night, pull up beside there, just shows the kind of driver, the kind of talent, the kind of car that Steve LeBaron's got under him right now. He's putting it together, and man, it's a heck of a season for him so far. So
Absolutely. So Bryce Davis, he picks up the win. That's his second of the year here at Woodhull. Steve LeBaron finished in second. Third was Ricky Laux. Fourth was Joe Layfield. And well, fifth was Brett Marlatt. Six cars. That's kind of tough for Steve.
yep, yes, that's for sure.
So that was the Southern Tier Custom Rush Crate late models. Then we moved into the Insinger Performance Modifieds, which Aiden Grover and Dayton Brewer started on the front row. Um, Aiden Grover, he led for a little while, and then And then Dayton Brewer, he broke on lap number one. So that
Yep.
that I think this time it was the rear end or something broke. I don't
Was. Yep.
shock or what. I don't know well enough, but definitely
Yep.
the rear end looked a little askew, I like to say.
Yep. So that team, so they actually got a new motor in. They blew the motor the week before. They actually
Mhm.
got their new motor in on Thursday. And Thursday night, they stayed up all night putting that motor in that car. Got it all together. They started it up and ran it just a little bit, decided it was okay to come to Woodhull. They came to Woodhull. And yes, he only made a couple laps out there, and the rear axle came out, rear end onto it. So ended his night early. Again, he's right there for the points championship at the end of the year and just can't get that monkey off his back. The bad luck just continues again for him. So
Right. Uh, So then Aiden Grover, he led a couple laps, and then Brady Foltz actually got by him, led lap number six. Then Aiden Grover got back by Brady Foltz to lead lap number 11. And then Russell Morseman, probably the I don't know, the star of the show for the modifieds.
yeah,
They were battling hard. Grover and Foltz were battling really, really hard, and the track was less than ideal. They gave a little bit open, and I think Russell Morseman just I want to say they left the door open and he kicked the thing right down because he came right through and he stuck it on the bottom where it seemed like everybody else was a little bit kind of I don't want to say scared but kind of timid to
yeah.
go down and use, and he just kind of rolled right through the ruts and got by them both.
Yeah, absolutely. I said that during the race. You take a look at Aiden Grover and Brady Foltz, and they were racing for the lead, and you could tell they were, coming into three that the track was tore up a little bit, and the cars were getting a little bit airborne in that corner. You could see them letting off, trying to set up, a little bit earlier to come out turn four. And if you watch Russell, Russell never did that. Russell didn't lift going into
No.
three, and he took every one of them bumps, and that car got airborne lap after lap after lap, and he didn't seem to care, and he didn't seem to let off. And he did. He shot to the front like a rocket. And once he was there, he was gone. So
And that's somebody too who he hasn't won yet this year, so he's
I,
and I guess Brady hasn't either, but he hasn't won yet this year and he had the car to do it. So that he was going to either break that car or win the race.
that's for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. He definitely deserved it. He's been
Mhm.
working hard all season long. And let's not forget, not only has he got his own car every week that he's working on, he's taking care of his son, trying to groom his son along and help him work on his car too. So yeah, there's no doubt Russell's got his hands full over there in that garage. And to come in and put on a show like that he did Saturday night, I was glad to see it. And you could tell by looking at his face in victory lane, he was pretty excited to finally get the monkey off his back and be there. So
Yeah, I wish I would have asked him what his arms felt like the
yeah,
Sunday morning.
somebody did, and they said he definitely said that his arms were hurting him. So yeah, I'm sure he felt it on Sunday morning. I'm sure.
So yeah, Russell Morseman, he picks up his first win of the year. Aiden Grover finished second. Third went to Jake Ginn. Fourth was Brady Foltz, and fifth was Russell Morseman, the fourth. Um, Jake Ginn was a rocket ship too.
He
Um,
was. Yep.
Jake Ginn got a little unlucky a couple of times on what might have been where he'd get a run on Grover for second, and then he'd hit a rut or whatever, and then lose some ground, and then have to chase him back down. But that 21 was a rocket ship again, and I know that's got to feel pretty good for the Harringtons because Stacy Jackson with another DNF this week, so.
Right. Yep.
Um, looking through, not we already touched on Dayton Brewer. Wally Wade was with us, so nice to have Wally back. He'll
Yep.
pop in every here and there, but I guess it is what it is. Anything else on the modifieds, Terry?
I don't think so. I think we about covered it. Like I said, that was a heck of a race. Them guys put on a good show. I
Absolutely.
mean, you definitely got your money's worth watching that feature. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, well, I was just looking at the times, and by the end of the race, there wasn't a gap of uh well, I guess there was one gap over 1.5 seconds in the top five. So that's pretty
Wow.
close racing.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so then we can move on to the hometown excavation crate sportsman, where Colin Wyant and Braden Buchanan they led the field to the green flag. I felt a little bad for Colin Wyant. I thought he got shoved out of the way a bunch of times, but he told me that wasn't that I don't he doesn't think anybody hit him. So I'll uh
Yeah.
I'll I'll let him be the one to tell you that.
Right.
But it did not take long, and Connor Brown got by the top two. Um, I think he led a lot of the race. He took the lead led the first lap and led the first nine. Uh,
Right.
and then caution came out on, well, Kenny Peoples tried to pass him about, I feel like Kenny passed Connor like 17 times.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
So, so Kenny Peoples got up to second and he went to pass Connor Brown on lap six, got by him in turn two, and the caution came out. And then the same thing happened on lap seven twice.
Yep.
And then finally, Kenny Peoples was able to take over the lead on lap number 10. And then there was another yellow on lap 17 or 18, excuse me. But at that point, Kenny Peoples was all out by himself, and Tim Guild did just about everything he could to try to get around him. But I don't know. To me, Kenny didn't look as fast at the end of the race.
Hmm.
I
Right.
don't I don't know if you would agree with that, but to me it seemed like Tim was able to catch him in three and four, but then he couldn't keep up with him in one and two. So
Right. Right. Yep. No, for sure. I say it was good to see Connor Brown come back. Connor
it was
Brown's always fast at Woodall, so it was good to have him back. And you give him a couple more weeks, and I think he'll be right up front, and we may see him in victory lane too. So it was good
I'm
to
not
see him.
and I'm not gonna lie to you. He was out front in that race for 9 laps, and I'm looking at it going, you imagine, you get so one Saturday you get married, right?
Right.
The next Saturday your wife comes and she wins the feature. Then the week
Right.
after that you come and you win the feature.
Yep. No, absolutely.
I
Yep.
go, could you imagine that? But
I,
ultimately Kenny Peoples had a little something to say about that. Picked
yep.
up his seventh feature win of the year. Tim Guild second, Isabel Brown third, fourth was Braden Buchanan, and fifth was Braylon Lawson. So
Yep. I tell you what, Braden Buchanan, fourth place finish. That's awesome. He's been struggling all year. That kid's been working his butt off, and to see it finally pay off for him and get a fourth place finish was great. He ran a good race. I watched him and his brother back there battling for position for quite a while there, quite a few laps, and there was a couple times there that I thought Quentin was going to get by him, and then just couldn't do it. Braylon held on, so that was great. That was great to see him run better, and same
I
with
got
Braylon Lawson. You know what I mean? That's a good run for him. It was great to see him up there and to put a good race together.
absolutely, and it was nice to see Blake Lawson back with us too. Eric
Yep.
Brigham, uh, not exactly sure. Well, he's from Laceyville, Pennsylvania. I'm not sure where he races weekly, but I know every once in a while he'll show into Woodhull. But you know,
Yeah, he has. He's been there a couple times this year, and I'm not really sure where he's racing from out of either. But he's a good racer. Good clean racer, and he's usually a front runner too, or he's up near the front. So yeah,
absolutely.
it's
And,
always good to see him come back.
there's another one I want to talk about, and I don't think he probably wants me to bring this up, but did you see Kyle Leach at the end of that race?
I believe he spun out on his own, correct?
Before that, he was flying.
Oh, he was. Yeah, he was.
I think he drove it looked like from about seventh to battling for fourth in like 3 laps.
Right. Yep.
And
No, he did.
he was coming, and then like you said, he wasn't.
Yeah, he got into a wreck early. Luckily, he got no damage out of it and was able to pull away and go back under green again. But yeah, it was a tough race. I mean, the track was rough, but that whole race was a little rough too. There was a lot of cautions in that race and a lot of attrition in there. So a lot of beat up cars at the end.
Absolutely. Well, you got anything more on the sportsman?
I don't. I think that's about it for them.
All right, gonna hop out of order here. We're gonna go to the Joe Wilcox Performance Automatic Street Stocks. Where Dan Gardner, he started on the pole. Teddy Morseman, he started second. And I don't know. I I thought this was gonna be trouble. Luckily, to my knowledge, I think they cooler heads prevailed. They were able to keep it calm and tame, and the way racing should be.
Yep.
And Teddy and Dan, they raced really, really hard for what seemed like a while. Dan Gardner led the beginning of the race. The caution comes out on lap four, and once they were doubled back up, Teddy Morseman was able to get by him on lap five, and then from there on out, he led the rest of the way, picking up his third win of the season.
Yep.
Um, Brian Butler finished second, third was Mike Spencer, fourth was Luke Boom, and fifth was Mick Seeley. But the big thing was to me was that Teddy Morseman, it just seemed like that car was just an absolute rocket ship.
No, it
It
was. It
it has
was.
been for the past few weeks. I don't know what he's found in that thing, but
Yep.
it's a good time to do it too. And you got to feel for Dan Gardner because he's been going through some struggles. I
Oh,
think
absolutely.
they were
Yes.
very close in points in the past 3 weeks. I think Dan's just had miserable luck. So
Yeah, he has, and Brian Butler's he's really been putting a good show on the last couple of weeks. He's got that car dialed in. He's had some good runs with it. He's right there. He's not far off from getting another win either. I don't believe
Brian
so.
Butler in the past 3 weeks has a win in 2 seconds. So.
Yeah, yep, yep. So good for him. And of course, then again, Luke Boom was back. He finished in the top five. You got a fourth place finish for Luke. Great to see Luke come back and see the car running strong. So good
Yeah,
for him.
I always like to see Luke. Luke's a
Yeah.
good dude.
Yep. No, definitely.
Um, Mick Seeley with a top five, so he drove from 11th to fifth, so that's something.
Yep. And he started out the night not very good either. There's something happened to that car. I can't remember what it was. Something broke in the heat onto it, and I can't remember what it was. Um, Geez, but they worked on it in the pits and got it fixed, and they were able to go on from that.
All right. Well, then we can move on to the Lad Road Auto Hobby stocks if you're done with the street stocks. Um, Dylan Phillip, he jumped out to the early advantage over Brian Austin. Austin started on the pole, Phillip finished or started second. So Dylan Phillip, he led. Caution came out on lap four. Caution came out on lap four again. So a couple cautions early. Then we were able to get some green flag laps in. And I think to the I don't want to say this like I'm talking bad about Dylan Phillip or anybody else. I guess everybody was happy to see Brian Austin make a pass for the lead.
Yeah.
And I,
Well,
I don't I don't want to take anything away from Dylan or anybody else. But Brian is one of the nicest guys to talk to. Dylan's won races before, he'll win races again, and Brian had not won a race. And kind of when people are going for the lead like that, he's been at it for a while in Woodhull, and people are happy to see that hard work pay off.
oh, absolutely. I believe this was his fourth year in the
Yep.
hobby stocks. And again, we watched him right off the bat this year roll that car over on its roof, did a lot of damage to it. They had to cut the roll cage into it, do some welding, some fab work into that to get it back, to even get him back to the track. And there was a point there in time where we didn't know if he was coming back, because there was so much damage. And for him to come back and the show that he put on the other night, he drove by Brandon Conklin like Brandon Conklin had it in reverse. And I'm here to tell you, nobody does that to Brandon Conklin. So
Dylan Phillip.
no, no, no. I mean, when he passed Brandon for third, second or third.
No, he started on the pole and then he passed Dylan Phillip for the lead.
Yeah, he must have.
Mm,
Because I remember him going around Brandon Conklin, and he just shot right by him. So I don't know if it was maybe
I
he
think
fell
you're
back to third
I
and
think you're
then came
thinking
back
of
up.
I think you're thinking on the restart. So there was a caution on lap 13 and 15, and I think at
Hmm.
that point Brandon Conklin was in second. So I think what you're thinking of is when they went into turn one, Conklin tried to get underneath him, and then Austin
Okay,
was able to drive around the high side and keep
right,
the
right.
lead.
Maybe it could be. But I'll tell you right now, if you were not a Brian Austin fan before, you really should be now because that guy put on a heck of a show once he got to the front. So,
Oh, that
and,
sorry.
and I'll tell you, when he got to victory lane, that was a pretty emotional victory lane. I went up and shook his hand, and I think you probably could have seen a couple tears on the corner of his eyes. That kid was pretty excited. So he doesn't show a lot of emotion, but you could tell he was pretty excited over that win. So it was a
Yeah, and
long
that
time coming.
yeah, and that's all I meant to do into. I don't ever
Yeah.
really root for anybody, but it is nice to see people that have never won win.
Yep. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
So Brian Austin, he picked up his first ever win. Brandon Conklin, he finished second. Third was Dylan Phillip. Fourth was the ever consistent Scott Brown, and Joe Birdsell finished fifth. Well, that's
Yeah,
I guess that's
I think I said for a couple of weeks, or I think we both did, that Brian Austin was on the verge of winning a race, and he
yep,
finally did. So now I'm gonna focus mine over a little bit to Scott Brown because I think Scott Brown's gonna win one before the season's over. Okay, so I'm gonna put that out there. He's been turning some pretty good lap times, and he's been looking pretty good out there. So I'm gonna turn it over to him and say that, before the season's over, we're gonna see him in victory lane.
yeah, I think you will too. But I've been saying that for years, so I don't know. That
Yeah,
hobby
yeah,
stock
yeah,
class is
right.
it's just so competitive. I mean,
Yeah.
any of these guys could win. Eric Stanford, that's another one. I want to touch on him too. It's nice to have him with us. That's the owner of Ken's Collision, if I'm not mistaken, in
Yep.
Castillo, track sponsor. So, decided to hop behind the wheel of the former Meadow Gin machine. And I've got a funny story.
All right.
So every week I live in Arkport, so just outside of Hornell for you guys that don't know. I'm sure most of you do, but I live in Arkport, and every week I stop at the Red Apple in Canisteo, and I get, some drinks and some snacks and stuff for the night. So I'm going, and I see the 3X come by, and I'm going, well, where are they going? I go, it must be. All I could think of is I said, well, must be Meadows going to Batavia. What else, and then I get there and I see the 3X pull in, and I'm going. And then to find out he must have bought it from her, so that makes a little bit more sense. But I was very confused.
Yep, they did actually. They bought both of them. They bought the 17 car and a 3X, and so it's been up at the Birdsall shop. They've been working on it up there, and yeah. So right now, as of right now, next year in 2026, the plan is for Eric Stanford to pilot the 3X machine for the whole year, and the 17 car is Reese Hackett is driving it. Been driving it, and that's going to be his new car for 2026. So I believe right now the seat in the 95 car is open, and I think they're just kind of letting some other people try it. And Brett Flint was the one who was driving it the other night, was driving that car. So,
Do you think I could announce from the inside of a race car?
well, I'll tell you a funny story. So Joe Birdsell has been talking about putting a car together and renting it on a weekly basis. So, the option's always there for you, Joe. I mean, if you want to try it some week.
Well, I'm glad it's Joe Birdsell doing it because he's got a lot of stuff to fix every week anyway.
Right, that's right. He's a busy man during the week working on race cars. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And again, there was another new guy out there that made his first appearance ever in a hobby stock the other night, and that
Ha!
was downtown Nick Brown.
Yeah.
So,
I talked to him. I talked to him after the race. And if you guys don't know Nick's you can pretty much get away with telling him almost whatever you want.
yeah.
And he and I go up to him and I said, "Boy, Nick, I thought you drove a race car before." I go, "What was that? So much different?" He goes, "Oh, they're so much different than a four cylinder." He goes, "It's not even comparable."
Yeah, no, he did pretty well for what, being his first time. And it was kind of funny because to say that he was excited about it was an understatement because I actually kicked him out of my shop at 2:30 in the morning as he was still telling me how much fun he had on Saturday night. So yeah, we talked about it. We had the car sitting here, and a couple of things happened, and we ended up the car was going to stay here at the shop for the night. And the last minute, we decided to give Nick a call and see if he wanted to try it. And so we didn't give him much time to prepare. Luckily enough, he fit into the car, so we got him strapped in there and let him take it and try it. And he did great. And that's kind of what he said to me was I didn't want to put a dent in it, and I didn't want to go a lap down, and he didn't do either. So I guess he did all right. So I think
Yeah.
you're probably going to see him back again. I think he's going to try it again. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yep. All right. Well, that does it for the hobby stocks. So then we got the Wicked T Quad C. They made their return to Woodhull, them and the Warriors, after they had last week off. Well, this was pretty much just I don't know. Um, Boy, I'm trying to remember exactly here what happened. Give me 1 second here. 1 second. Just 1 second. Maybe two. All right. So so Blake Snyder, he started second. He started on the pole. The
Yep.
the the things are different, but that Robert Haynes started on the pole, but he didn't start. So everybody moves up one. So Blake Snyder, he started on the pole, and Kaylee Morseman was alongside him. Wesley Hoteling, he started fourth, and it did not take long for Hoteling to get up to second. Um, Snyder and Hoteling put on a good race. This was a great race, good hard racing, clean racing, which is, I'll say this, good to see after some of the stuff that went on between the two of them not too long ago. Um,
Hmm.
and I think Blake made a few better choices in lap traffic. Um, and he was able to pull away from Wesley. And I think for the most part, this race stayed green. And once Blake was able to clear that lap traffic a little bit better, Wesley just, I don't, I hate to say, I just don't think that once the 18's in clean air, you're going to be able to run him down if you're behind him.
Right. I
I,
agree. Yep.
I think if you give the 18 of Snyder a gap, I think it's going to be really, really hard to catch him. And unfortunately for Wesley, he got hung up a little bit of lap traffic, and the yellow never came out to put him right back on the tail of the Snyder. So,
Yep.
that's racing. I don't know.
I got to say on this, so 13 cars in this field, right? And when it got down to the end, them two such a fast pace racing each other that they almost lapped Joe Gillespie at the end. Now they were close. Now anybody that's been watching Joe run the last couple of weeks, Joe's been running really really fast. And a
One of
matter of
heat.
fact, and a matter of fact, you can't even knock Nate Freeland because he's been running so fast. And I believe they did put him a lap down. So that just goes to show you the pace that them two set racing each other. And it was good, clean racing, side by side racing. And man, I'll tell you what, them two, they threw everything they had at it, you know.
Another thing too, I'll say good for Wesley too because he blew up the week that it was off. So if anybody needed the
Yep,
four cylinders to be off, it was Wesley, and good for him. He was able to get a new motor, and that's got to feel good. Whether you root for the guy or not, when you blow a motor up and then you come back the next time you race and you're still fast, that's just
right.
got to feel good because you never know what might happen.
No, absolutely. And I'll tell you, if you remember the night he blew the motor up, he didn't just blow that motor up, he exploded that motor. Like we found engine parts on the track we were
Hmm.
picking off there. Plus, the car caught on fire before it came to a stop and he got out of it. So, yeah, it was good to see him get some good luck and come back and race as good as he did. That's for sure.
Right. So Blake Snyder, he picked up his fifth win. Wesley Hoteling finished second. Joe Gillespie third. Fourth was Nate Freeland, and fifth was Kaylee Morseman. Going through, not sure on this Nathan Mertsock, but he was with us. Robert Haynes, he pops in every here and there. Brock Perry, not sure if that was a new car or just a new number for Brock Perry. Perry drove the 11 car for a while at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
Um, so I don't know. Couple of
Yeah, I'm not really sure on that one either.
couple of different guys with us, but um, kind of interested to talk to Nate Freeland because that car just seemed a little off for my
Yeah, it
exactly
did.
what from what I was thinking. From what the way he's been running, it just seemed a little off. So,
Right, right. No, definitely did.
um, I guess that's about all I got for the quad C's. I mean, you're
Yeah,
so yeah, that was the night, right?
I think so.
Done at 10:30 again.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row, right?
And I'll tell you this time, we had a little bit of a lengthy intermission. I think they were trying to get the track how they
Yeah,
wanted it, and it was a little lengthy, but we were still able to get out of there at 10:30. So,
right.
what
Yep,
more?
for
What more
sure.
do you want? I mean, really.
Right. No, definitely.
Um, I don't know. I got written down here. If you ordered photos, stop in and grab them. So,
Yeah.
if you ordered photos, and you haven't picked them up from Sharon in the photo booth, make sure that you stop in there and get your photos because I don't think we want them for. I don't know. If you ordered them, pick them up and buy
That's right.
them. Well, Terry, you got anything else on the night, or you?
Yeah, speaking of which, hey,
Uh-oh.
if anybody out there wants to be a photographer, we're looking to hire a photographer this week. So just throw that out there. If somebody has interest in doing some motorsports photography, get a hold of us, shoot the page a message, and we gladly would entertain somebody if they were interested in doing it to finish out the season. So
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, hey, it's a lot of fun. You get right up close and personal. You can watch the races, take some pictures. You don't have to pay to get in. That's neat.
yeah, absolutely. It is a lot of fun. It definitely is. I've done it for quite a few years, and it's a lot of fun to get down there and get close with them.
And I'll tell you another thing too is you never know what that might lead to.
That's right. Yep.
So yeah, that was the night. That was brought to you by Country Crossroads Seed and Feed and Johnny and June Salon. I believe both located in Addison, right? Country,
Yep.
yeah,
Yes, both
Country
are. Yep.
Crossroads is.
Side by side too. Businesses are side by side. Yep.
I guess they are too.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I don't get down that way much. So, but I did just drive through there, and I remembered seeing it. I didn't realize that that place was so big.
Oh yeah, yeah. Both they just added on. They just expanded a little bit down there, and of course Johnny and June's. I'll say this: if anybody sees me walking around the racetrack and they comment on how nice my hair looks on Saturday nights, that's compliments of Johnny and June's. His chassis takes very good care of my hair every week for me before I go on the track on Saturday night. So
And
just
if
a
I
little plug in there, you know.
and if I were to get a haircut, I would drive the 45 minutes to go there.
Really. I tell you, if you drove that 45 minutes, Joe, I'd probably pay for your haircut for you. As I would. I would do that for you.
Well, I would.
Yeah.
I always want to give. I'd rather give the money to businesses that either help the track or sponsor race cars or I,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't even mind paying a little bit extra too. I don't know. I know some people say that, uh, you know, um, you can get things cheaper at other places, but I'd rather support the little guy that wants to help races. It's a big deal.
Right.
There's not a lot of
Yep. No, for
businesses
sure.
signing up, and I know I can't speak for Country Crossroads, but I know Johnny and June's. I know they sponsor race cars. I
Yep.
they sponsor Austin. They sponsor the racetrack, and it's cool. I'd rather help out those people, keep them in business, and give them my money than some I don't know
Oh boy. And if you ever
supercuts.
stop in the booth, yeah, if you ever stop in the booth when them two are sponsoring too, boy, they have a lot of fun on Saturday night down there. They love it. They love it. Matter of fact, when they're getting ready to leave and I asked them how their night went, they said they can't wait to sponsor next year. So, yep, they absolutely love it.
Did you tell them they could sponsor more than once?
Yeah, well, I think that's something we'll talk about here in another couple months, but
No,
for
I'm
sure.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
A
no.
little bit, sort of. But yeah, they're I don't know. Is that Mackenzie that runs Country
Yep,
Crossroads? I don't see.
yep,
I don't know her very well, but I know Chastity. I grew up with her son.
right.
They're a lot of fun. So, um,
Yep,
but so you ready to hop into the points or what?
yep. Let's do that really quick. Yep.
Okay, really quick. How quick?
Well, no, you got time. Go ahead.
Insinger Performance Modifieds, Aiden Grover, your current point leader. Brady Foltz is second, 16 points back. Dayton Brewers third, 18 points back. Russell Morseman slowly climbing his fourth, 19 points back. And Brian Doolittle is fifth. He's 46 points back.
And out of nowhere, here comes Russell Morseman. Out
Who
of
are we kidding?
nowhere. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, he wasn't in contention for a points championship. And now today, here he is, 19 points out of first with 2 weeks to go. Um, if anybody could put this together, I think Russell can do this. If it's going to be tough to get by Aiden Grover, that's for sure. Aiden has a piece that just doesn't quit, but uh, you know, same and again Brady Foltz, same way. That car's been top notch. He hasn't won a race this year. He's due to win a race. So it's definitely going to be a fight at the end, that's for sure. But we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. We touched on Dayton Brewer. He came in tied for points and just had two
Yep.
absolutely miserable weeks. Blew a rear end and blew a motor. Um, So, he's going to be looking to get back just 18 points back. But, 2 point shows, I guess anything can happen. But,
Right. No, for sure.
and then Brady Fultz, last year's point championship, he's ever consistent, has yet to find a win yet. But, he's closing in on it.
Yep.
Um, Lord. um, So then we can move on to the what do we got? Hometown Excavation Crate Sportsman.
Yep.
Kenny Peoples Jr., picked up a seventh win this Saturday. Tim Gill is trying like hell. 2 points, 2 points nights. I think Kenny can lock it up next week. I haven't done all the math on that, but
Right.
I'd have to
Well,
imagine if you get 30 points for a win, Kenny just has to get, what would that be? Just has to not get outscored by 10.
yeah. Well, so Kenny could possibly, or I'm sorry. So Tim could possibly get 35 with a Heat win
Heat
and a
win.
feature
Okay,
win.
yep.
Yes, he could get 35. But again, it's going to be tough. If you look at the last couple of weeks on the points scene, Tim has done everything he can, and he's just not gaining points on him.
That's tough.
It is. It is very tough. And Tim will tell you, Tim's having a great season, and he can't. It's tough to gain points on a guy that is winning week in and week out.
Right. So, yeah, Tim Guild, he sits second, 39 points back. Third's Quentin Buchanan, 95 points back. Fourth, Glenn Trowbridge, 126 points back. And Jacob Trowbridge is fifth, 143 points back. Not much to say, really. What do we got? Colton Coots, leader for Rookie of the Year. If he qualifies, I don't know. I haven't done the math on that. You know
Yeah,
what?
I need
It might even be Colin Wyatt. I
right.
don't know.
I need to look into that.
I know they're both rookies, but I don't know if well, Colton's been there most of the year, right? He must have enough features to qualify.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think so.
and he moved up to a modified. So what's that do for your?
Yeah, I'm not. I got to go back and look on that, all that, straighten that out. I have to take a look at it.
All
So
right. So sit tight. We'll figure something out.
yeah,
Uh, Southern Tier Customs Rush Crate Late Models, Brett Marlatz, your point leader, 15 points back in second, Steve LeBaron. Marshall O'Brien in third, 76 points back. Ricky Laux in fourth, 82 points back. And Joe Layfield's in fifth, 122 points back. And I do want to mention that the current leader for Rookie of the Year, and we want to give a get well soon after a wreck at McKean on Friday night, is Wyatt White.
yeah. We can touch on that just a little bit. For anybody that doesn't know that listens to the show, so on Friday night there was a Rush Series race at McKean County Speedway, and Wyatt showed up, and I believe that was probably his first ever Rush race, and I believe he went out for hot laps and collected the front wall. Uh, Ended up smashing the car pretty good. They went under red flag. They stayed under red flag for 40 some minutes, I believe, under red flag while they cut him out of the car. Um, After they got him out of the car, they loaded him in a helicopter and they flew him to Buffalo, where they kept him overnight or checked him out. And luckily, he had no broken bones, and they released him early in the morning, and he was able to come home where he's resting now. But I don't know what the year is going to bring for him as far as his ending it out. But we do wish him well. We wish that I hope that he gets feeling better here, and hopefully we see him at the track soon.
Um, I was told by a little birdie that they would have been there Saturday if they had parts.
Yeah, and it could be. Yeah, he's the kid is tough. That's for sure. He's a tough little kid, and he wants to get the experience, and he's not afraid to wheel that car around there. We see him week in and week out, and
Absolutely.
I
And
can't
but
wait to see him come back.
if you look at the top real quick, I wish that I could ask Steve LeBaron just truthfully, if I gave him a little bit of truth serum and I just asked him, did you want Bryce Davis to show up?
Right, right.
Because that's looking a lot different if that's only a 10-point gap with 2 point shows instead of a
Yep.
15-point gap with 2 point shows. So,
Well, not only that, I'd like to ask Steve LeBaron how he feels now about missing one of the first weeks of the season.
yeah,
Uh,
that's
that
another
right
thing.
there makes a huge difference. So,
Yes, it does.
yeah,
Well, yeah, that weekend he'd probably be the point leader if he was there that
yeah,
week.
absolutely would be. Yep.
All right, Lad Road Auto Hobby Stocks. Brandon Conklin, your current point leader. He's got a 41-point gap over Dylan Phillip. Third sits Scott Brown, 53 points back. Fourth is Joe Birdsell, 81 points back. And fifth and current leader for Rookie of the Year with 131 points back is Reese Hackett. Um, this is probably when you look at it, probably one of the most spread out fields. It's
Hmm.
hard to think that your top five are really going to change much throughout the
Right.
year. Save somebody not showing up for a couple weeks or, something
Right.
like that happening. But, He
Yep,
looks pretty set, at least for my eyes. They're going to be tough to tough to get by.
it is. I think if you sit down and you really sharpen your pencils again, you'll see that there is a possibility Brandon Conklin could lock it up this next week. Um, his points lead. I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Right. All right. Uh, that's your hobby stocks. Joe Wilcox Performance Automatic Street Stocks. Boy, Teddy Morseman has opened up a 30-point gap over Dan Gardner. Dale Hoteling is third, 55 points back. Currently sits top for Rookie of the Year. Fourth is Mick Seeley, 68 points back. Mike Williams is fifth, 88 points back. Um, I Teddy Morseman has just been on a mission towards the end of this year.
Yep.
These past few weeks, he has come out and just been extremely strong. If he doesn't win, it seems like he's top three. And
Mhm.
Dan, like I mentioned before, Dan Gardner's just had miserable luck, and
Right. And Dale Otailing, he's been running solid. And then all of a sudden he ended up with a DNF. So this week, I believe. So, yeah, tough for him. I think he actually pulled in with one lap to go. So that's got to hurt.
that
That's got to
sounds
hurt
right.
Dale his chances. So, yep.
Yeah, all right. So then we'll go to the Wicked Tees Quad C. This one we really might have to sharpen a pencil. Um, Blake Snyder, he holds the top spot with a 46-point gap over Nate Freeland. Wesley Hoteling's in third, 51 points back. Joe Gillespie is fourth, 113 points back, and Danielle Morseman is in fifth, 114 points back. So only 1 point separates your fourth and fifth.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I'm not exactly sure the math, but I would say that what would that mean? That Blake Snyder has to pick up, well, he can't get outscored by 11.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then
that's,
he'll lock it up. That's
yeah, no, it's going to be a tough. I mean, we're really going to have to see what next week brings on these because, I mean, theoretically, there is still 70 points sitting there on the table. So there's 70 points between first and last, right? So um, you really got to see what this next week brings. But yeah, I would probably guess that it's going to
well,
be
it's well, this one's simple to figure out. If Blake Snyder scores or if Nate Freeland scores 11 points more than Blake Snyder, then Nate Freeland has a chance.
right,
If Blake Snyder comes within 11 or less points, or
right.
10,
Yep,
10 or less points, Blake Snyder wraps it up.
right. No, absolutely. Yep,
So Nate Freeland has to finish what? He has to beat him in the heat race and then finish probably 6 or 7 spots ahead of him in the feature,
yep,
is probably what you're looking at
right, right.
for Nate Freeland to have a chance next week.
Yep,
So that's Nate Freeland's gonna need a little luck, I think, is what that means.
you're right. I think so. Yep.
Uh, then we'll zip back up to the Wicked T Warriors. Bella Morseman, she's got a 6-point lead over Caden Thomas, and Courtney Thomas is 34 points back in third. Those are the only three that have been, weekly competitors there.
Right.
Um, you know, uh, I don't know. They're probably just gonna flip flop who wins, who loses.
Right.
Um, I don't know. It's possible that Bella Morseman could win this thing by 1 point if
Right. Right. Yep.
if Caden wins and she finishes in second.
Right.
Well, I guess
Exactly.
not, because then I guess the winner on championship night will have
Yeah.
more. But
Yep.
yeah, that'd be something. What happens in the event of a tie? Do we go to most wins?
Yeah, I believe you do, but I don't know because we have crowned dual winners before. So I remember it happened back. I think it was the first year of the Crate Sportsman's. Actually, I think Donnie Lawson and Kenny Peoples Jr. both tied for a championship. So
Hmm.
yep.
Guess we should have looked up the rule book, huh?
We got plenty of time for
Plenty of time, plenty of time. Um,
that.
IMCA's were off, but we'll just buzz through them. They only got one night left.
Yep.
So that Jacob Ingham, he sits at the top of the 5-point lead over Keith Lamphere. Third, 7 points back is Jacob McConnell. Fourth and 12 points back is Tyler Belcher. Fifth and 15 points back is Jay McConnell. Um, so yeah, like I said, nothing changed there from last week, so we won't go too in depth on them.
Yeah, no. So again, these guys got one more race left, and that's going to decide their points championship. Okay, so uh, we're currently still looking for a sponsorship for this right here. So if anybody's on board and is looking to sponsor a race and would love to sponsor one, I need a sponsor for the last race of the year for these guys. So if there's anybody interested, give us a shout. We can hook you right up and get you some publicity, get your name put out there a little bit, and see how it goes. So again, there.
So the schedule we have isn't right then, is what you're telling me?
Wait, maybe I'm wrong.
Because according to what I got, Joe Trappler is going to string you up.
Oh no. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm talking about for the class. I'm looking for a class sponsor.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for as a class sponsor. Yes, I'm not talking about the last night of racing. No, I'm sorry. Let me back that up. So the last night for the IMCA's, their last points race is a big money race for them. Okay, and we're still looking to secure some sponsorship for that race for the
Okay.
IMCA class. Yes. So sorry
Gotcha.
about that. Yes, I
Nope.
guess I should have worded that a little bit better.
And I believe that's a tour race too, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Uh, so yeah, that's the points. Now we can kind of look ahead just real quickly here, Terry. I know you got to get out of
Yep.
here. Um, so this upcoming Saturday, we got the Hall of Fame Classics on Dirt that they're back for their second trip. Also, big news. Quad C Dave Klein Memorial Dash for Cash, 500 to the winner for the Dash for Cash. And then for the feature, just, based on the car count, right now I believe it is sitting at 800 to win for the Quad C feature, courtesy of All Bark No Bite Tree Service Logging, Nick Brown.
Yes, and also Westfield Beverage also stepped in and threw some money in there too. So, on that. So yes, they are also part of that. But
Okay.
again, and this is going to go on car count, and the rumor on the street is already that there's a bunch of cars that are headed this way for that race. So let's see. I mean, this could be it'd be nice to see 20 cars show up for it, and that would put the purse up even higher, and yeah, make a good night of racing for the four cylinder. Somebody could walk out of there with a pocket full of cash.
You'll never guess who I saw walking out of the Steuben County Courthouse today.
Geez, I don't know. I'm glad it wasn't me.
No, 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 not in a bad way. He was bringing his wife some flowers, so I was told.
Oh, right.
Willie Easling's dad.
Oh, there you
So
go.
I did a little sweet talking. I said, you come, you win both, you could walk away with $1,300. That's some good money for the Quad C, the four cylinder. That's pretty neat. He said,
Right.
yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Uh,
Well,
so I was doing some. I was doing trying to get some people on board, but
right.
that's brought to you
Well,
by S&D Pool Specialist, Big T Processing, and All Bark No Bite Logging. Um, so yeah, that's a great show. And then we got September 6th coming up. That's your season championship night. All champions will be crowned. That's sponsored by Superior Propane and McCourt's Auto Collision.
I would like to add on that. A lot of people have been asking too, and that is not a double points night. We do not do double points at Woodhall Raceway anymore. We did away with that a couple years ago, and I'm not a fan of double points at all.
Nope.
And yeah, so it's just a regular points night. Other than it's championship points, that's it. So
Right. And then we got the big 305, New York 305 Sprint Car Nationals, Friday night. I believe this is just a regular night for the CRSA Sprints, just kind of a little bit of a shakedown, regular feature for them. We also got the King Bop Dirty 30 Allison Pierce Memorial for the hobby stocks, and then the crate late models. We're letting them take the tops off the race car, so nobody's got to worry about Austin Allen. And
yep.
that'll be brought to you by MSRP Car Quest of Elkhorn.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think we've ran a race at Woodhall in quite a long time where that we've let them run topless. So that is going to be interesting, let alone 30 laps for the hobby stocks, man. Can you imagine that? The way these guys been putting on a show all year, all season long. This could be one heck of a show right there.
And I'll tell you
It's
another thing, there's some big money.
yeah,
Joe and his wife and I think Mike Spencer's got a part in it.
yep,
They do a great job raising money for that race as well. So
yes, they do. Yep,
that
there'll
should be a lot
definitely
of
be
fun.
some. Yeah, there'll be some lap money invested in that too. So yeah, that'll definitely
Yep.
be a a race you don't want to miss. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
And I believe I'm still working on it, but I think I'm going to have that finalized in the next couple of days that we are going to have a band that night also and a bonfire after the races. So anybody wants to hear some music, you can come on out and after the races are over. And I think a lot of the sprint car guys are going to be camping there at the track. So we're going to encourage anybody that wants to camp to come on up. It's free camping and hang out and enjoy the bonfire and enjoy the band on Friday night. So
So I'll make a plea for this, seeing how I've got a platform here where I can get some people. If anybody has a camper that they'd want to let me and my girlfriend stay in, or just a bed, whatever. Um, maybe I think I'd like to stay the night up there, but I'm gonna be honest with you, after a night of racing and after camping or after a bonfire and watching the band, I don't think I'm gonna feel like driving home,
yeah,
if you
there you
catch my
go.
drift. So,
There you go.
and
There you go.
and I don't know if I'm really up to pitching a tent in the middle of September. So
Right. I hear you. I hear
I
you.
might, I might if that's what it comes down to. But
Well, I tell you what I would do. Joe, if you really want to, I could probably open the Southern Tier Custom shop up, and you guys could stay there if you wanted. So,
there we go. I could bring an air. I can bring an air mattress.
absolutely could. Yep, yep. It's not far. You don't have far to go.
Not
So,
at all. A lot closer than my house.
that's right. Yep.
Yeah, so that's the 12th. That is Friday the 12th. And then so the next night, Saturday the 13th, they're back again. The CRSA Sprint Car's back again, 4,000 to win. We've been talking to Mike Emhoff all summer, all winter. He thinks this is going to be a great show. If you've watched the 305s at the track, you do not want to miss this. This race is going to be awesome. It's going to bring guys from New York, Pennsylvania, Canada, New Jersey, just all over the place. So
Yep. And we're doing
definitely
a
don't want to miss that.
right, absolutely. And we're doing a pre-registration for this. And I tell you, the guys they're calling in. They're pre-registering. I think we've had 3 or 4 people do it today alone. So we're starting to get a feel of the cars that are guaranteeing us they're going to be here. So this ought to be interesting.
Right. So that Saturday night, they're going to be joined by the Crate Sportsman and the Hobby Stocks as well. And then I do want to mention too that at the end of the night, a powder puff. I'm not exactly sure on the rules on that yet. I know we were going to kind of talk on that. Not car wise, just driver entry wise, exactly what we want to do there. Wives, girlfriends. I
Yep.
my thought is in the how do I want to word this? In the spirit of what the event is just, people that don't have a lot of racing experience is what I've.
Yeah. So I believe you'll probably see a rules package come out, or eligibility package come out probably in the next week because we have been working on it, and I believe it's going to be somewhere along the line of you couldn't have never won a feature at Woodhull before, um, or raced in a full season at Woodhull. I believe that is where the rule is kind of laying right now. But again, it'll be finalized probably here in the next week or two, and we should be able to get that posted so people can start planning for that.
Right. So yeah, so that's the 12th and 13th. That's going to be a big show. I am very excited for that. Our good buddy Marty will be back in the house with us to call the action for the CRSAs, and I'm looking at it. We're going to have, that's pretty. That's not the hardest night for me. Yours truly only got to call 2 or 3 classes, so that's fun.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yep. And it's
Um,
$4,000 to win sprint car race. That's the highest paying 305 race in the state of New York. So,
Absolutely. And I do want to mention too, before Kyle Lowry calls and kills us, Saturday night is sponsored by Lowry Family Farm. So
oh
they've
yeah.
hopped
And
on
hey,
board this year and done a lot. So
right, absolutely. And I tell you, Joe, if you play your cards right, I talked to Kyle today, and I know that he's ordered a whole bunch of T-shirts. So I don't know what the plan is for that Saturday night yet, but I think you're going to see a lot of Lowry T-shirts at Woodhall Raceway. So
sometimes I try to get people to bring them up to the booth beforehand. So Kyle, if you're listening, 2X eyewear. So if you want to bring that along to the announcers booth before you start whipping them out into the grandstands, you can feel free.
there you go. There you go.
And
Yep.
then I just want to hit on this September 20th. That's full fender night. Woodhull 100 for the street stocks, crate late model street stocks, duh, hobby stocks and quad C. Joe Wilcox has killed it with this race. That race is now going to pay 2,000 to win, 900 for fifth, and 250 to take the green. Um, it's going to be the highest rate, highest street stock race in the Northeast, you're not going to find a better paying race than this one
Nope,
for the street stock. So,
absolutely. And again, these guys are still collecting money every day. They're
yep,
still bringing money in, so it's far from being over yet. I
lap
know
money
that
too.
John. What's that?
Lap money too.
Hey, that's what I mean. Yeah, I know John Stewart's working hard on the lap money right now, collecting that. It's growing. It's growing like crazy. So be prepared to see some more big numbers coming because, like I said, they're still not done. They're still collecting money every week. So,
Absolutely. And then September, I need you to finish that flyer, by the way, and send it to me, Terry. Um,
oh yes,
and then September
yes,
27th, that's our season finale. Sounds kind of crazy. That's all we got left. We got
yep,
about a month left. It went by fast. 2,500 to win for the Cray Sportsman. The IMCA will wrap up their championship here at the Woodhall Raceway. 600cc modifieds once again, and 600 to wins for the Quad C. That's brought to you by JT Logging and CS Tree Service and Landscaping. And before we get too far, I also want to mention that is the rain date for the Woodhall 100.
yes, that's
Nobody wants to
correct.
think of rain, but if it does happen to rain out on September 20th and you put money in for this, that is going to be made up on the 27th.
Yes, that's correct.
Is that it?
I think so. That's all I've got.
Me too. Well, once again, I want to thank you, Terry, for joining me here on a Monday night. I want to thank the good county of Steuben for not selecting me as a juror. um, but no, seriously, I want to thank you, Terry, for joining me, and I want to thank
Yep.
Country Crossroads, Seed and Feed, and Johnny and June Salon as they were tonight's presenting sponsor. I do want to remind everybody, if you made it this far, to please like and subscribe on the YouTube page, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you listen to the podcast. If you listen to the audio version, download it, and people like to see downloads. It's cool. Like us on Woodhall Raceway on Facebook and Woodhall Raceway 64 on TikTok. Well, Terry, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joe. You have a great night, and it was great chatting with you.
You too. Have a good week.
You too.